filming it up here in Wilmington, North Carolina, right at the Intercoastal, and we're in one of these bands. This is about as nasty as it's been. We had some bands like this last night. Then the eye wall this morning, we were not on TV. It was a dark, raucous night at the hotel. And this wind gusting again over 60 miles an hour. It's blowing by pieces of limbs. This is what we're seeing, a lot of shingles coming off. You see what happens when you throw it off, it just takes off like a projectile. And unfortunately, a tree has fallen on a home here in Wilmington, killing a mom and her infant. The father was transported to the hospital with injuries. So here in Wilmington, New Hanover County, this has become a deadly hurricane now with 2 fatalities, a mom and her infant. Boy, I tell you, look at the wind just whipping the palm trees.
Now, that is the staged footage that the Weather Channel put out, and it's got 22 million views on Twitter alone. People are really having a good time with this. It's hilarious. You've got people strolling all back and forth behind him, not having any problems. It's fake news. It's performance art at its best. But if you go up to Infowars.com, we can put it on screen for folks. Mark Dice made a nice find of Anderson Cooper, who basically climbed into a ditch or a creek so that he could pretend that a bunch of buildings are underwater. And this is just standard activity for these people. And if we scroll down on the tweet, we can show people the rest of it right there. So there you go. Now, my whole point in this is that mainstream media is constantly getting caught engaged in fake news. They lied about WMDs in Iraq knowingly at CNN and the New York Times. It came out knowingly. We had the first Gulf War that kicked all of this off in 1990 by saying that Saddam Hussein's troops bashed the brains out of hundreds of babies and pulled them out of incubators. That's declassified, that's public. They used a young actress to come in and say that she had witnessed the baby's brains being bashed out. She'd never been to Kuwait. It did not happen. Doesn't mean Saddam's a good guy. It means it was war propaganda to get us into a war. So there are many other famous videos of people on kayaks, people in canoes, where you can be in a canoe or kayak in 6 inches of water, and then people go famously on the Weather Channel and CNN walking right past the kayak, and you see CNN saying, get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. The point is they do this. And if you question this, you're not a bad person. If you see Anderson Cooper and he's saying he's on location, and then you see him turn and part of his face disappears, it doesn't mean that the event he's covering isn't real. It simply means he may be using a green screen, because they're famous for doing this, and questioning that as an American citizen is okay. They're all over corporate media saying questioning events is not proper. And then they'll go further. Even though we said we thought Parkland happened, but that they'd hired and basically funded 4 of the anti-gun students to travel around the country and be anti-gun because they were in the acting club and were well-spoken, that doesn't mean that the shootings didn't happen. It doesn't mean that I'm saying they are crisis actors. But that's what mainstream media to this day says that I said about Parkland. And again, that is the intense deception that is going on, that these people are involved in, that these individuals are engaged in, because they want to be able to shut down InfoWars and silence us so that when they lie about us in the media, we don't have a way to respond. And CNN and mainstream media have almost no audiences now. Their main job is going around as, quote, fact checkers for big tech, for Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube, and other platforms. And then if they say something's fake news, it's taken down. This is outrageous. And I want to get into a case of this for you, and then I'm going to get back into what's happening with the fake news, the performance art that both CNN and the Weather Channel have just been caught engaged in. And we have more videos posted at Infowars.com dealing with this, with the headline, Performance Art, CNN's Anderson Cooper caught faking intensity of Hurricane Florence that just slammed in the last 24 hours into the East Coast in North and South Carolina. And at the end of this live feed, we have a tragic 4-minute compilation of the real damage, the real death, and the real things that are happening, and the real news. Now, let me give you an example before I get to the latest on the hurricane and the political correctness that somehow has got in the middle of it to this piece of news. This story is up on Infowars.com and Newswars.com. Tables turned, Think Progress gets censored by Facebook fact checkers. Leftist publication accuses Facebook of pandering to the right. Now, in the article, they've got all these examples of Think Progress, funded by George Soros, saying, shut Alex Jones down. He's fake news. And then celebrating when I indeed got shut down. And Glenn Greenwald, who is a real journalist, said, congratulations to everyone who, number one, held up Bill Kristol and the Weekly Standard as a responsible, serious, admirable source, and two, urged Facebook to become the arbiters of who and could be heard on the internet. This is just the start of your work. And then it goes into how they celebrated me being shut down and how dangerous that is. Now, again, they use things I never said or did, built outrageous straw men. That I said there were Martian slave colonies of children. Or that I said Hillary personally chopped up children. I said she's personally responsible for funding the Arab Spring and ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And there's videos of them raping and murdering men, women, and children in mass, selling them into sex slavery. And I said under federal law, if a mafia don gives an order and it goes through the capos down to the henchmen, the soldiers, the don is more responsible than the soldier because he premeditatedly gave the order. So I said she's personally responsible for raping and murdering and chopping up men, women, and children, even though she didn't physically do it. We have famously shown that video, proof Megyn Kelly lying about Alex Jones caught creating fake news. But they took down our YouTube channel, but it's still on some other people's channels where we show the full clip of what I said, and then they show audio, not video, on Fox News before she left to defame me. This is how they're operating. So a lot of people are saying, oh, great, we've got conservatives now involved in the super class of fact checkers who wave their magic wands and decide what can and can't be on the internet. Mr. Kristol's father was the head of the Trotskyites after Leon Trotsky was killed in Mexico by an assassin sent by Joseph Stalin. They said we can't bring down America without taking over the conservative movement. That's what they did. They're the people that helped lie about WMDs. They're the folks that helped say never Trump and put out fake news. So I love how the establishment has brought the Weekly Standard and the neocons, who are worse than most of the Democrats, as bad as Hillary, the warmongers, the architects of all these illegal wars, the architects of the police state, they bring them in to be the fact checkers, and then Think Progress is like a schizophrenic or a goldfish with no memory. They've been the ones calling for everybody to be banned. And so when they simply had their article demonetized and blocked so people couldn't share it, shadow banned, they bitched and complained like it was the end of the world because they're real journalists. They can say, oh, we go and fact check Alex Jones. We say he goes away, but when we get restricted, oh my God, it's terrible. So that is the bizarre hypocrisy of these people. I mean, Anderson Cooper and others have been caught wading into streams and creeks to make it look like water levels are higher than they are. And that's a lie. It's a fraud. I wouldn't do it. I'd go out there now and say the good news is it's not as bad as people thought, thank God. Because it could have been a lot worse. But that's still nothing compared to the gentleman who is, again, acting like the wind's blowing him everywhere and people are strolling behind him like it's no big deal. We don't need the audio again, but if we could just roll just this section. I'll send you guys the video with just that section. If we could roll that for folks again so they could see specifically what we're talking about there. Because this is the type of deception that we're talking about. Both the videos are on Infowars.com and Newswars.com. And they are censoring and trying to block sharing links to Infowars.com, Newswars.com, not as much. I'm sure the censors will jump on that very, very quickly and try to make sure that that happens. But Newswars.com is a really, really good site. Hope you'll spread the word on that. Now, let me move on into this. A Coast Guard officer on Florence duty made a hand gesture on TV. Some saw a white power sign. That's the Washington Post. Now, we're going to show that video in a moment as well. Why is this big news? Well, you've got some Catholics that think that they see the Virgin Mary in a piece of burnt toast. Remember that? I think the toast sold for a lot at auction. People have seen mold growing on the wall and thought it was an apparition of Jesus. Children look at clouds and they see Dumbo the elephant, or they see a giraffe or maybe a dinosaur. I know my children did when they were 3 or 4 years old. Seeing patterns in things, that's part of being human, but making them up, this means A-OK in diving, in skydiving, and scuba diving, in commercials when I was growing up. For 7-Up, they would make that sign. But the media, the corporate media wants to destroy symbols and ideas. So if they can pick something and say, we think this symbol's offensive because Hillary and the Democratic Party said it was offensive, if you've got a woman in the Gorsuch committee hearing simply rubbing her arm and making the symbol, it means we support Trump. Or it means he's picking a zit or a ingrown hair. Literally today, when I was watching this video this morning, I was sitting there rubbing my hands through my hair and doing the same thing, you could technically say. But it looks like he probably did it on purpose. But what he's saying is, we support President Trump. We're politically incorrect. We believe in speech. Because they can tell you, we now find this offensive. They can then find everything offensive. But don't worry, the Coast Guard wanting to virtue signal and run around and just prove, that they're absolutely on top of it. They have fired the member of the Coast Guard, has been removed. We are aware of the offensive video on Twitter because you say it's offensive. When you snap your fingers, we're going to jump. The Coast Guard has identified the member and removed him from the response. His actions do not reflect those of the United States Coast Guard. So one headline says he was fired. It sounds like they just removed him from that post. Coast Guard member appears to flash white power signal. The Daily Mail tells us, see? So let's talk about that. They've put out disinfo pieces on YouTube, and I've talked to some insiders. They say it was staged. One particular channel, the day I was purged on the 6th of August, said, we just mentioned Alex Jones, and we were given a strike on YouTube. I've since then done over 20 major YouTube interviews now. People have a right to interview Charlie Manson, the Ayatollah Khomeini, Alex Jones, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, whoever they want. But they put that idea out, and it was put on every newspaper in the country, all over the news, that, oh my God, you can't even say his name, so that people would be scared and not say my name. That is the intel we've gotten. Totally scripted. These guys hate us on this show. This was just put out there. And now it just happened again. Brandon Strzok is not involved in it. He said a few days ago he'd be on my show on Wednesday. He just said, hey, Patriots, on Alex Jones in 30 minutes, Infowars.com. They did give him a strike, so we may delete your account and ban it for 30 days. After Tucker Carlson and others said they were going to cover it, and Trump was made aware, they removed the strike, then ran a hoax story saying it didn't happen. So they'll test, and then they'll pull back. That's what they're doing. That's the activity they're trying. You are allowed to interview anybody you want. That is beyond communist China to say you can't play an Alex Jones clip or you can't talk about Alex Jones in a positive light or in a negative light or in a neutral light. But I know so many people who've said, can I interview you? And I say, sure, you got a big show. And I'm not going to mention who they are, but I've been on a bunch of these big YouTube channels and shows, and they actually ask me, will we be banned if we have you on? And I'm like, well, you're not living in America if they do that, but no. And then they're not. But everyone asks me this now before they interview me. I had a national talk show host ask me this week, is it legal to have you on? And I said to this individual, who is a businessman, very wealthy, owns an insurance company, while I'm on the phone with his lawyers, and I said, in all due respect, man, if you don't want me on your show, that's fine. This is America. You think you'll lose your YouTube channel if I'm on your show and it gets put on YouTube? And I said, you're going to lose everything if you have an attitude like that. My God, run up white flags, man. You know, so much corporate media said, oh, Jones didn't know when to shut up. Ooh, he got in Jack Dorsey's face and got kicked off Twitter. Oh, you're a dumbass. They're having hearings lying about me. Dorsey went on TV and said I got a 7-day suspension because I said attack the media with battle rifles. I never said that. And they know damn well the video was crystal clear. I said Antifa's doxing members of Congress, members of the media, and members of ICE. And I said, if you have been doxed, these people are serious, you better have your battle rifle next to your bed. That's 100% defensive. It's 100% the second damn amendment. And it's my First Amendment right to say it. So, you want to give in to these bullies, that's fine. I believe in you. I've been betting on you. And 1 week before I was totally banned in August, my dad was over at the house to have breakfast on a Saturday morning. And we're drinking coffee and eating bacon and eggs. And I got my kids all sitting around. And he's like, man, stuff you've been saying, I know it's provocative, and I agree with most of it, but, you know, you're going to get restricted or banned. They're all over the news saying ban you. He said, you know, do you think you might dial it back a little? And I said, Dad, I'm not trying to get banned, because a week later Zuckerberg banned me and said that I wanted to be banned. I said, I can't start controlling what I say or what I do because these censors tell me that they'll totally put me into the phantom zone or put me into excommunication or put me into exile. Because, Dad, I said, you're a smart guy. What are they going to do? And he said, by successive approximation, they will incrementally begin to demand more and more and more and more and more. And I said, that's right. You pay the pirate, like Rudyard Kipling said. This is the conversation. You pay the piper like Rudyard Kipling said, and he keeps coming back. And I said, Dad, I intend to actually say what I really want. I said, I've been subconsciously dialing back because of all the censorship in the last year. And I said, it's the wrong thing to do. I'm not going to try to get banned, but I'm going to say what I really think. And he said, well, I figured that that is what you were doing. And about a week later, I was banned. And people go, oh, you're a big loser. Oh, it's over for you. They're getting ready to have real hearings. They got antitrust coming. You've got all these Google videos getting leaked of them admitting that they tried to steal the election for Hillary, that they want to block Trump. It's all coming out. So they want to lie about it and say there's no bias. It's beyond a bias. It's massive discrimination. But it's worse than that. Corporate media colludes with big corporations, the Obama administration, the FBI, and the CIA. I have mainstream articles right here in front of me, to come in and then create straw men and lie about me and say things I never said and say things you never said, to then set the precedent to remove us and then begin removing everybody else. So they're working in concert. There's a Zero Hedge article that links to all the mainstream news. It's all here. Strzok wanted to hunt down Trump ties using FBI Steele dossier linked to CNN. But the real meat of this is the new text and documents released by Congress a few days ago, where they are coordinating with CNN and the New York Times to give them the fake dossier that they cooked up and wrote, then to act like CNN broke it, and then they go and use that as the reason to get fake warrants and to go interrogate people. And Strzok even says, I'll use this as the pretext. We'll parallel construct, which is illegal. So they create the fake document, they create the fake investigation, they create the blueprint, then they go out and have the media run it like it's true, and then use that to get warrants and everything else. That's what they're doing to me. They build a straw man, they say things I never said or do, or they edit tapes. They then sue me. They then say, look how horrible Alex Jones is. Then if I fight the lawsuits, they drop them, but the news doesn't cover it. Others, they keep going. And then they go, oh my God, take him off the air. He wants to kill the media with battle rifles. Never show the clip. And then now they're talking about how I need to be arrested. Well, that Eric Bolling here, formerly of Fox News, he's an energy trader, former professional baseball player, interesting guy. He's like, man, you know, the character on Homeland's based on you. Those are the characters. And what's it like? And I said, I haven't watched the show. He goes, oh, yeah, but you know about it. And I say, let me guess. At the end of the last season, I get arrested or killed. He goes, oh, you do watch. And I go, no, dude. They're creating all these drama shows. They had 5 different fiction shows based on me that I know of, where it goes through, I'm in big, nice studios, and then I get sued, and then I get in trouble, and I get caught being a liar, and get caught staging things, and then I'm on the run, and then I commit crimes, and then SWAT teams come and get me. I already read the synopsis. See, I am Alex Jones. So I know how the script ends. He was like, whoa, you're a really interesting guy. And I said, yeah, dude. I mean, this is all scripted. I'm not scripted. I see their scripting. I see their rollouts. Their latest rollout in thousands of articles in the last week is it's all written by the same person, writes the talking points. I don't know if it's somebody like John Podesta, who we know wrote some of the scripts earlier, or who's doing it right now currently, but articles are, it's over. Jones is gone. Jones is defeated. Jones is off air, and Jones needs to go to jail. Well, we're not off the air. In fact, technically, our steady audience is bigger than ever, okay? And we have a lot of big expenses and a lot of big attacks, but thanks to you, we are actually in a strong position. You know, if I came and told you I was in a weak position, we'd raise even more money. And yeah, we've actually raised more money in the last 5-6 weeks than we've ever raised before, but we need more. I mean, it's just what we need. I'd like to have more in our war chest, not just enough, but God is providing. You are providing. But I want to explain this. We've already been shadow banned since Hillary won. We were already major league dialed back before that. So it didn't matter that I had 5 million subscribers on YouTube between our channels or 5+ million subscribers on Facebook. There was a point about 3 years ago where we were growing. They killed it. And so it just sat there stagnant. And then they wouldn't let us get out but to a fraction of the people that had liked our Facebook or were following us on Twitter or following us on the YouTube channels. So I would try to spend money as an advertiser with Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And they wouldn't let us get any more reach. So I stopped advertising. I even, about 2.5 years ago, tried to spend money to get our articles promoted. And it just didn't even work. So if I've been destroyed, it was 2.5 years ago. But notice I wasn't. Despite all that, the Streisand effect's in place, and we're reaching more people because of you. And that's why I'm betting on you. They're betting that you don't have a memory, you don't care, you're not going to tell people about Infowars.com and share the videos in your email or via text message on your phone. But the truth is, they are all in the media saying, the corporate media, that don't have any audience anymore, that if they don't get rid of this, they have no future. Their future would be being real journalists. But the new talking point is, I've been defeated, because they want this new narrative that fake news admits it's fake, it's been defeated, when they're the ones staging lies about WMDs, and they're the ones saying they're being blown around in a hurricane and people are strolling by behind them, and they're the ones climbing down in a creek and saying that they're in Main Street, Anderson Cooper, in waders up to his chest. And they're the ones at CNN putting out the fake news that the dossier was real when they knew it was fake, and working with the FBI and the Democrats behind the scenes. And they're the ones trying to bully us into total submission to go along with their system. So they're the clear and present danger. I'm not calling for the left, even though they're fake news, to be taken off the air. You know, there's some other quasi-fake news put out by George Soros and Media Matters with the headline that Alex Jones says Trump should storm major media companies with the military. And you notice they don't show what I say after I say that. I say it as a hook. It's what's called media. I'm showing you the rabbit tricks to say, coming up. And when I came back, I said, yeah, Google and Apple have moved to China. They're helping censor the dissidents. They're helping arrest people and have them killed. They're tax exempt. They become state-run in China. They were set up with U.S. government DARPA money. They're clearly anti-American, authoritarian, and they're working against the nation in espionage. And technically, the president could raid them with SWAT teams under national security, but he's paralyzed, and his Justice Department is. I'm not calling for them to be raided by SWAT teams. Big media is running movies in fiction based on Alex Jones, where they say it's Alex Jones, where I'm a criminal that murders people and bombs people and has thousands of employees with huge fake news command bases. That's them. They're saying SWAT team me in fiction land to sell the idea. They're trying to overthrow our government, our system, our people. It is aiding foreign powers. So I'm saying technically in the compendium of force application, it would not be a tyrannical move when these U.S. assets have been stolen by the Chi-Coms, sold out by our own elites, for them to be seized by the federal government, not for state-run media, but for them to be set right back again for the stockholders and to have an internet bill of rights and to not censor anybody and to go back to the federal laws and the First Amendment that are already in place. And I can tell you, that's what the White House is looking at. I was censored and blocked and deplatformed and unpersoned because I was exposing the authoritarianism of Google and Apple. And now you've got Google and Apple executives, top engineers and others, and for every 5 or 6 you hear about, there's 100, quitting because they've officially moved and are doing AI with communist China, not with their own military. They're overthrowing nations all over the world. Governments are using the Google information warfare technologies and other Facebook technologies to control people and to manipulate them. And it's like the Ring of Mordor. We need to say, whether you're a Republican or Democrat or who you are, you don't do this. And you don't censor people, and you don't shadow ban them, and you don't manipulate them, and you don't track everything they're doing, like China is now doing through Google, where they know from your post what cell phone number you're using as an internet ID, the last step in a global social credit score to control everybody. So, that's what's happening. You got the kings of fake news at CNN and other places, and Weekly Standard, the famous neocons, running this whole operation. And they know what they're doing. And they're coming in as the third-party fact checkers, acting like there's some type of judicial system going on. They're chosen because they're establishment. They come into the big tech, and then they're given access to your profiles and your information, and then they decide how to control you, how to bully you, how to manipulate you, how to ban you for a day, 7 days, a week, a month, and then finally ban you. And there's a continuum of bans on the internet right through not being able to have jobs, right through not being able to travel, right through to being killed. That's the compendium. And that's what's already happening in China. And that's what even mainstream news, years after I told you, is now announcing here in the United States and in Europe. This is the system. And Zuckerberg and others are over there building it in China. They've made the turn. They're doing it completely. And it's very, very serious. And they're going to use in the Christian West the fact that mainly Protestant Christians and others said slavery was wrong in England and the United States. They got it banned. They know that we have this ethos of guilt. And so they're going to use political correctness to ban everybody's free speech in the West. And they're going to not just say, you can't say Alex Jones, he's racist. You can't say InfoWars, he's racist. You can't say the OK sign, it's racist in international sign language. They're going to not stop at anything. This is destruction of words, destruction of language. This is the Ingsoc dictionary that George Orwell wrote about that the Fabian socialists wanted, the English socialist, Fabian socialists, where they reduce the language. They reduce the culture. And it's done selectively too. If Obama wants to say everything's okay, or a chef wants to say this is incredibly good linguine and clams, then you're able to go, oh, bon appetit. But if we don't like you, or we think it's in sign of support of the president, then you can't do it. This is mind control. This is the SJWs. The Coast Guard should be ashamed of themselves. The head of the Coast Guard should be called in front of the president and say, what the hell is your problem? You'd be worrying about the response, not somebody doing this on the back of their hair and you think you see swastikas. Remember the Hitler teapot that J.C. Penney 5 years ago was selling. See if you guys can find Hitler dog. In England, you get arrested for making a joke. I had a French bulldog who died last year named Captain, and he didn't have any hair right here, and he was a white dog, but this was black. So, I made the point that I could see Hitler in my dog. He doesn't mean he should be put down. And so J.C. Penney sold a teapot that had a handle that's standard, a little round top, but it would project something that they thought might be Hitler. And J.C. Penney apologized and pulled him. Oh, my God, we're so sorry. That is the mental illness, ladies and gentlemen. That is the total insanity. That is the craziness, but they mean business. They're going to take all your basic rights, your health, your freedom, deadly GMOs, deadly vaccines, glyphosate in the water, all of us racially fighting with each other, the Chi-Coms killing political dissidents, 100+ million people. That's all okay. Just don't do this and don't have a teapot. And, the president, the new talking point is, it was on Bill Maher this weekend, it was everywhere, Trump killed 3,000 people in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a third world protectorate of the United States. I've been there. Puerto Rico has nice beaches and some nice food. Very dangerous to go into its big cities at night. You'll get robbed. Puerto Rico has power outages. The one time I was there, 3 times. Puerto Rico, I wouldn't call it a crap hole, but I would call it a third world dangerous place. Very beautiful, but dangerous, just like Mexico. And the politicians swindle the money famously. They don't put it in infrastructure. We hammered them with money. We flooded them with cash. And it's all just rotting and piled up. I know some of the contractors that went there for security. It was all a giant scam. And the local government and the unions for a month ordered double the money the first week or they wouldn't drive trucks with food. They gave them double. What happened? They said triple. Then they said quadruple. Remember, Trump then ordered the military in to start delivering the goods. So that's what happened. But when you tune into the news, Trump killed 3,000 people. Trump's a failure. Trump's a liar. Alex Jones is a failure. Look at these headlines right here. The bizarre political rise and fall of InfoWars. Alex Jones, CNBC. When I say thousands of articles, folks, the same day they had another one. And most of this is lies, they say. All these articles, Alex Jones is wrong about free speech. He doesn't have a right, blah, blah, blah. This is what they're doing. They're setting the precedent to deny you access to the marketplace of ideas, to the digital commons. And they've got all these people celebrating it who for now on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, if they're pro-globalist, anti-Trump, they get promoted. But in the end, you'll all be taken down just like Think Progress. Because where this all ends is official statements being put out by corporations. Then those get reposted everywhere, and that's it. Everybody else gets shut down and silenced in this digital system. It's what they've done in the Great Firewall in China. Even the New York Times said the Great Firewall of China is coming to America to suppress Alex Jones. Now I want to end this live feed with some interesting past reports we've done with some of the real carnage paper folks in the Carolinas. And then we'll be back with some more live feeds tonight because I've got a lot more I want to say and a lot more I want to do. And the big thing is there's a referendum on free speech here. If you take this live feed that's on Infowars.com right now, and if you text it to your friends and family and tell them, hey, get the Android app while you still can. They already banned the Apple app. Those that downloaded it still have it. Go to Infowars.com/show. If you take action, if you spread the articles, if you email them out, if you text family and say, hey, this is the forbidden Alex Jones, find out why it's forbidden, see what he's really saying. They're coming for all our speech. It will be a chain reaction, and the globalist will fail. If you don't, they are going to win, and they think you're stupid, and then that's going to happen. I don't think you're stupid. And I see Trump moving against them. I see the awakening. I see all these employees at high level quitting Google and Apple and exposing it. And I think humanity is going to find its conscience again, and we're going to turn this around. I want to change the world. I don't want to just sit here and submit to the system. And I know that you're the same, and I believe in you. So I want to thank you all, no matter what color you are, or where you came from, or what you look like. If your heart loves freedom and you love justice, we're all in this together, and we're facing real 21st century authoritarianism. Now, in closing, just like our information is game-changing, our products are game-changing. And Survival Shield X2 is the pure iodine. No one else has this, from deep earth crystals between 7,000 and 12,000 feet. It's very hard for me to get this product. Sometimes there's major shortages. It has 6,126 reviews, 4.9 stars on Power Reviews. No other product on their site has that. It's that amazing. It's the good halogen. You must have iodine in your body. It is essential. And it's just like air. It's just like oxygen. It's just like the basic building blocks. But instead, they hammer you with the bad halogens, fluoride, chlorine, bromine, and about 7 other things that literally fog you, fill all your cells, your thyroid, you name it. And a lot of people, when they go on X2, have dramatic effects. Some of them have a detoxing at 3 weeks. So talk to your healthcare provider, your practitioner. It is an element. And the government, in the 30s, there were so many mentally retarded people and low IQs, particularly in the Midwest, because there was not enough iodine in the fields and they weren't eating seafood, that there were massive IQ reductions, all sorts of genetic disorders. So they mandated a low-grade form to be put in salt. IQs then went up on average 15 points according to federal studies. Birth defects went way down. That is a fact. Since the 70s, they pulled it out and they hammer you with the bad stuff. The fluoride, the chlorine, the hydrofluorosilicic acid, you name it. For yourself, for your children, for everybody. Take it slow. Take a half dose, in my view. That's my personal view. They demonize me selling toothpaste is fluoride-free. They demonize me saying fluoride's bad for you. It's a load of crap. They say I'm evil. David Hogg says he sells water filters and claims you should filter your water. Well, only an idiot wouldn't filter their water. The point is that the globalists don't want you protecting yourself. So Survival Shield X2 is amazing. We're over a barrel with the oil companies that get it between 6,000 and 12,000 feet. So there's no contract now for this. When I say it's the last run, it could be 6 months a year until we get more. I hope we get more. This is the last run, it looks like. Survival Shield X2 at InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. BioTrue Selenium goes with it like a horse and carriage. Selenium is an electrochemical. It's needed as well in all activity in the body, particularly neurons. So these go incredibly well together. We have a combo of those. Just experience it for yourself. Why do you think they fear me so much? Very simple stuff. Filter your water. Yeah, I fund myself selling water filters. It's the best out there for the price. Alexa Pure, all of it. The globals are so deceptive. David Hogg's like, he manipulates, he lies, he says, filter your water. Then he says, next, buy my water filter. No. I'm being a straight shooter. Alexa Pure Breeze, Pro Pure, or apples and oranges, they both cut stuff out 99.99%. If you're not filtering you and your children's water, you are insane. You know about the glyphosates and the 100+ million they just won? One black guy that got cancer from it? You understand that cancer goes up multi-1,000% after glyphosates are used in crops. The water table's filled with it and thousands of other chemicals on average. So again, ladies and gentlemen, you need to go see that for yourself. Average 4.8 stars. Some of those products are new. They have no reviews, but they're already top reviewed elsewhere. We buy whatever's top reviewed and then discount it. So Survival Shield X2 is really a game changer. It's available at InfoWarsStore.com. But get the other products. Get Brain Force. Super Male Vitality. It's cold pressed from known herbs and known organic compounds that don't mimic testosterone. From the research, they get your body to naturally operate. And very dramatic, works great. But again, I've been playing hardball with the cost of these products. So I've broken the contract with Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality. It's very high quality, works really great. People love it. But this is the final run of Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality, unless I get some better negotiations, because I want to be able to even lower the price even more. And there just is a lot of money goes into this, and it's worth it. It's just that I'm doing 50% off until it sells out. 50% off on Super Male and Super Female Vitality. We also have our Alpha Power that is amazing. that's even stronger, but it's from dry herbs, not the wet cold pressed herbs. So it's apples and oranges. Both are amazing. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. 50% off X2, 50% off Supreme Vitality. And whether it's the lung cleanse, or whether it's the Super Blue toothpaste, or whether it is the ultimate bone broth, nobody puts into products the amount of product we do. They sell at clinics. That's how I learned about this 5 years ago. That I talked to my dad, and who's a doctor and chemist and developer, and others. They said, great idea. PQQ, CoQ10 is either synthetic or it's very low dose, $40 for a little bitty bottle of it. I said, why don't we get the real stuff that's organically produced? And why don't we, instead of having a 7-time markup, have 100% markup? And so, again, ladies and gentlemen, you can get DNA Force that is proven to be able to have nerve regrowth factor. Watch out if you've got anything old hurt in your body, though, like old hurt knee or whatever, because I had my finger been cut off years ago and it had been reattached, and the feeling never came back on one side. It came back after 3 months on DNA Force Plus. Now stronger, now with more PQQ and CoQ10 and even more. It is an amazing formula. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or 888-253-3139. 4.6 stars. It really is amazing. Check it out for yourself. And without you, again, we cannot fund this operation. Okay, let's go ahead and go to real news. Not Anderson Cooper staging that things are flooded, caught red-handed. Not people caught at the Weather Channel, staging they're being blown everywhere, and people are just strolling happily behind them. But real news. And again, the argument here is they're fake news. Let them be. They're a joke. They have to pay to be in airports and bars. They have to pay and lobby to have me taken off air. Media Matters today, I was on Google, has it up there, lies about me and Sandy Hook and all this stuff at the top. They pay to put their lies out. George Soros does. See, people want to hear InfoWars. They want to hear Drudge. They want to hear local talk radio. They don't want to hear CNN. So the power of you taking action is unlimited. So I don't think Progress should be taken down for lying about Kavanaugh. But they shouldn't lobby for me to be taken out either. But here's the difference. People want to read me, thanks to you. They don't want to hear from them. So America's being tested right now, and now is the time to take action against this and realize what's happening and say no. Okay, great job to the crew in here on Saturday. I'll probably do another live feed, but regardless, we'll be back tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. with a ton of big breaking news and amazing information. I did an interview with Tonto Peranto, too, about Obama, who helped get his friends killed, then saying Benghazi didn't happen. He has a right to say Benghazi didn't happen. I have a right to say other things didn't happen or question it. Will Obama be sued for saying that he says Benghazi didn't happen, doesn't exist? We ought to play that off InfoWars. Because I meant to call one of the writers. That probably needs to be its own article. That video is pretty powerful. The name of the video is Benghazi Hero talks about wanting to choke Obama through the TV screen. I'm not calling for that. He didn't mean he literally wanted to. But the guy that got his friends killed in order to stand down with Hillary, saying that it's a conspiracy theory that he stood down, he's saying how he feels, how hurtful it was to him. The last thing I want is any harm to Obama. Probably nightly news tonight, Jones says strangle Obama. That's what they're going to do, folks. They're going to lie to you. When we make mistakes, we're going to point it out. I didn't want to do this during the main weekday show because it has millions of listeners because it isn't comparable. But I misspoke last weekend because I'm teleprompter free, and I was talking about Anderson Cooper lauding the Arab Spring that killed hundreds of thousands of people and backing ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and what a liar he is and how they get people killed. And I said Tucker Carlson for some reason. And then later that was pointed out to me. So I wanted to make that correction, just like I did a few Saturdays ago here in the same venue where it's the streams only. But again, I do these because they're commercial free. They reach a lot of people. Everyone is encouraged to re-upload it to Twitter, to re-upload it to Facebook. Everyone is encouraged to give your own commentary. Everyone is encouraged to get this back on YouTube. But whatever you do, tell folks about the local AM and FM stations, UHF stations, and VF stations. And go to Infowars.com/app where you can still get the Google Play app that is #1 in news. #1. You have to search it, though, because they don't have it at the top anymore. That's their form of censorship. That's what Apple did right before they totally banned us. So get it on Google Play today. Download the free app now. And you go to Infowars.com/show and click on The Alex Jones Show, The Real News with David Knight, The War Room with Owen Schroyer. And then that goes right to your device. That goes right to your device. And then you can get it for yourself. On the Apple app, it had millions and millions of downloads, and it had 18,000 5 stars. It still has that on Google Play, too, the 5 stars. But it's just incredible. Oh, and by the way, if you search it on the iTunes store, the Huffington Post comes up. Just kind of rub it in a little bit. Like when they deleted one of my YouTube channels, they put Stephen Colbert and the Young Turks as links under it. They never do that, by the way, when they delete your YouTube channel. It's gone. But not me. It was like, F you, Jones. Oh, but we don't have any bias. But you know what? You're not going to stop the truth. You're not going to stop the truth. So, yeah, if I even did a Heil Hitler joke like Colbert did, or like, one of those comedians, I don't even know her name, what's Sarah Silverman or whatever, she can do it because she's okay. But if I did it, they'd say I was really being Hitler. See, they get to joke. They get to make signs. They get to be free. They get to be fact checkers. They get to decide who can be on the air and who can't because they work for the establishment. And they couldn't beat us with demonization and taking our sponsors. So now it's just try to ban us everywhere and sue us into oblivion. But it's not going to work because nobody likes these people. Everybody's sick of them. Everybody's tuning out of it. And it's an exodus, and it's a beautiful, 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 beautiful thing. Yes, a lie goes halfway around the world before the truth put its pants on, to quote Mark Twain. But in the end, the patriot wins because then the timid join him, because then it costs nothing to be a patriot. Whatever you do, newswars.com, prisonplanet.com, infowars.com. Tell your family. Why is it so demonized? Why is it so attacked? Because we know what's going on. We know how to stop the globalist, and we're fearless thanks to you. All right, good job, crew. Let's go to now some of the real aftermath, not Anderson Cooper caught in giant fake news.
Only 975 millibars, 975, and you can see hurricane conditions have arrived. That's the Bell's Garage and a yacht.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Florence's outer bands began attacking the Carolinas yesterday, pushing a surge of water inland.
You see it right there, the water there rushing into a home in Topsail Beach, North Carolina. There are reports that 5 people have died in the storm in the Tar Heel state.
Category 1 hurricane. It's 90-mile-an-hour winds toppling this gas station canopy. A 10-foot storm surge inundated the town of Belhaven, North Carolina. It's the same in New Bern, where rescue crews have pulled at least 200 people from their homes. Dozens more are still waiting for rescue. Florence knocked out power to around 500,000 homes and businesses, most of them in North Carolina.
More than 500,000 people in the region are already without power and could be in the dark for days, if not weeks.
As you can see, water levels here on the Intercoastal Waterway are rising, and the fear throughout the Carolinas is that flooding may become catastrophic.
Take a look at this Piggly Wiggly grocery store. The front awning and roof ripped off. Parts of the building ended up in the parking lot. Also in the middle of the storm, a house caught fire. Firefighters had to work their way through the flooding to get to the home and put out the flames. And everywhere in the city, there was high water. The flooding came up to doors at shops downtown.
The force of Florence felt in Wilmington, North Carolina. We were at this house where a tree came crashing down. 2 people, a mother and her infant, were killed. The slow nature of Florence will lead to heavy flooding all throughout the area. In the city of New Bern, hundreds of residents have called for help, with officials dispatching swift boats to stranded citizens. The focus now for local and federal officials is to conduct rescue operations as safely as possible.
We're focused.
New Bern, North Carolina was on the receiving end of much of the early damage from Hurricane Florence. Downtown, at least one roof collapsed and the streets were littered with debris. Some trapped by the storm said they couldn't afford to get out.
We knew that it was a flood zone, but we didn't really have the funds to get all my family out of the area, so we just stayed.
That's where search and rescue teams became vital, making their way through flooded streets to pull people from damaged homes and apartments. Joining the official effort, the so-called Cajun Navy. Originally formed in Louisiana in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, groups of private boat owners rowed out to help where they could. Some volunteers found frightened pets wading through the floodwaters and pulled them aboard, soaked but now safe after it seems owners left them to fend for themselves.
What's happened is people left some of their animals loose in their backyard. The fences are down, so there's no way for those animals to stay there. Now they're coming back to the house.
What are the rules here, Mr. Chairman? What are the rules?
The gentleman will allow the witness to answer the question.
Look at that. Everybody else is just like yellow or clear. That's because it's been denatured, it's been watered down. We didn't do that. You think I would metaphysically sell you something that is the very best I can get? I'd rather go to hell than do that. I will only give you the maximum best info, the maximum truth, the maximum product, because I want that goodwill. What I do to you, I do to myself. Don't you get the big secret? You ever seen fish oil look like that? No, you never seen that, have you? And this little jewel right here is solid, liquid consciousness. Look it up. Find out how even the FDA and the government admits fish oil is incredible. The number one thing anybody can do for themselves is take good fish oil or krill oil. Just like our information is dynamite, so are our products. Infowarsstore.com.